We can use the gateway to expose REST endpoints as a GraphQL API. And to do this, we use the same API doc object that we use for the developer portal. But this time, we provide a GraphQL-like schema definition. So you get to see that it's like a standard schema definition that we provide through this API doc object. And then we need to go ahead and create what we call a GraphQL resolver map. The idea here is to define as code declaratively how to resolve these different fields. How do we get this product and review and some other GraphQL solution so that they allow you to write some JavaScript code or other language to define how to get this data, which is very powerful, but very complicated to maintain. Here it's fully declarative, and we leverage the jQuery capability to make some advanced transformation on the data that we receive. Here we say, when we have this query products for home, we are sending a request to the product page service using this path. And to be able to get to the products fields, like in the reviews field, for example, we get the parent ID that we received here. And we send a request, for example, the review service with this ID. When we get a response, we take the reviews part of the response. And that's a very simple transformation. But for example, in the ratings, we do much more. You can see right here, we send a request to the rating service, and we really do get a nice advanced JQ transformation to get that data in the format that makes sense. As you can see, we don't have to write any code, and anyone can read this and understand what is happening. So we apply this, and finally we deploy this GraphQL schema where we indicate the API doc and the result map that we want to use. So that combines these two elements together. And after that, we can create a route table like we do to expose our APIs or UIs. But here you can see the target is the GraphQL schema, and you can have a matcher here. For example, if the requester has the prefix /GraphQL, then send this to the GraphQL API that we have just defined. So you can use the GraphQL tool after that to validate that everything is working. But you can also use curl and provide your query that way. So what I want to do is query my GraphQL API for the products for home, and then I want this in the format of GraphQL. And this is the beauty of GraphQL. You can tell what you want to get back. Here, I want to get the title and rating for each service. And I also want to get the number of stars for these services as well. So I can copy this and execute that command, and you can see the response we get back as we expected. You can even do this through the UI. For that, you need to create a CORS policy so that the UI is allowed to send this request, even if the URL is going to be different, because we have opened the UI with port forwarding. So this is the URL of the UI, and now I want to access the GraphQL API. And I want to explore this API here. And to do that, it's going to send a request to a different endpoint. We are not going to send that to this endpoint here, but to the same one that we use when we want to access the HTTP bin application, for example. So that should be similar to this one, but this time it's with this GraphQL endpoint, as you can see. So I can just get this set, and then I can take my query, which is this products for home query, which you see right here. That's the query I'm going to use, and then I can just set it that way, and I should be able to run this query. So let's just try to copy that query. Now that looks good. If I want to add the ID, for example, here, then I can use this API Explorer to check that, and I can get to test out my GraphQL API.